Hey, Mark. Shout out to you, bro.
Let's go! 0-3, baby!
See, that's what I'm talking about, bro.
Woo!
I'm talking about...
All right, g'day, Steeler Nation Australia. Let's do a quick Ironcast. Haven't done a good Ironcast in a while. I'm going to talk pretty much until I run out of breath. Today, I want to talk about the quarterback position because the Pittsburgh Steelers are in a funny, like, what's the word? I guess, cheap word, spot. They're in a funny position right now because with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we had Big Ben for so many years, for 18 whatever years, and going into training camp, we always knew that Big Ben was going to be the quarterback, and we would focus our attention on the receivers, the running backs, the O-line, and what guy's going to step up, who's going to be the leader of the offense, who's going to, help out. We had Le'Veon Bell there too. We had a star AB, but we then had guys behind that. We always had Big Ben being that guy that was like, oh, he was going to be QB1. So today I want to talk about the QB1 position because it's quite interesting with the early days of now being day 3. So day 3 recap of going to training camp, the players are reported, they're settling in, they're starting to play, they're doing 7-on-7 shots, 7 shots as they say. Rudolph went out there and scored 2 touchdowns, one to a running back and one to, I think, Steven Sims, was like a bullet-like pass in the slot. So it was like a slot route kind of style. So it was kind of interesting that way, right? But I started to think, I'm thinking around this is a very peculiar situation the Steelers are in. Have never been in this spot where they have, they've brought in 3 quarterbacks, 2 via the draft, 1 via free agency, and they have Mason Rudolph, who's been on the team, I think now 4 years or so, and possibly heading into his 5th. If I'm wrong about that, shoot me down. But he's around that length of time with the Steelers. Been there a long time. I think he has a record of 9-8. He's played a few games. He got the big head injury from Earl Thomas, was from the Raven, knocked him out completely, which was a really vicious hit. He also had the star with the Myles Garrett incident where he took off his own helmet and hit him with the helmet. So he's been through quite a lot. But the thing now is, can there be a 3-way quarterback competition? And then that's not even to discount what Chris Oladokun can do as well. But he's probably more in that role of practice squad or maybe the 3rd guy. But more or less, being a 7th rounder, he's going to be involved in the practice squad, which would say. So that leads us then to 3 quarterbacks. You have Mitchell Trubisky coming over from, the Buffalo Bills, where he took off a whole year. And then he had his playing time in the Bears, which really didn't work out, right? The Matt Nagy system didn't work out. We talk about the Matt Canada system. Matt Nagy system didn't work out at all. So it's interesting to see that we have now Trubisky there, who possibly could be QB number 1. You have fans yelling and shouting as the moment that he struggles. You have fans yelling and shouting for put Kenny Pickett in the moment that Trubisky struggles, right? And you have a guy there with Mason Rudolph, who's been there a long time, who possibly could be the dark horse, but we don't know what the Steelers are going to do. And to me, it's quite interesting because we have the QB number 1 position heading into preseason, and then the regular season coming up too. So what will happen with the QB number 1 position? That's overall the big question, I would say, and the reason for my Ironcast today. And let's look through it. I guess the way I think the Steelers are going to do it. I think the Steelers are going to do Trubisky, hear me out, Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, Oladokun. Okay, I do think that Trubisky will be QB number 1. Rudolph will be backup, as he's playing quite well to be a backup and possibly jump into QB number 1 if necessary. But there's a reason why they went out and got Trubisky for, a 2-year deal. I think it was $9 million a season or something like that. So there's a reason they did that to bring in Trubisky. Did you bring, the scenario is, did the Steelers bring in Trubisky to back up behind Rudolph? I don't think so. But that then begs the question, is there a real quarterback competition in the room right now with QB1, QB2, and QB3 being Kenny Pickett? So it's quite interesting because you could also go down another route, right? There's a few routes you can go down. You can go down the route that Kenny Pickett was the overall number 20 pick and there was Mike Tomlin's guy. They went and got Kenny Pickett to be like, okay, you're going to go run the team. We trust you. You're a rookie. We're going to bleed you in a little bit, but we want you to be the overall starter, possibly by week 9 or week 10. And the fill-in guys are going to be Trubisky and Rudolph. That's another route. Another route, which you think about it, is all this doesn't make sense, right? All this makes no sense. They went out and got a backup in Trubisky because he was a backup behind behind Josh Allen. And maybe the Steelers are really progressing towards using Rudolph for that QB number 1 spot. And the reason why I say that is because Chase Claypool talked about Rudolph being that he's up there. He's a part of the QB, the 3-way race. So maybe there was a chance that Rudolph could be potentially the QB number 1 starter, and that may happen. But I don't know, because as a fan perspective, I think, well, how legit is that for Rudolph to actually start there and Trubisky's holding the clipboard and helping out the team? It doesn't make too much sense when you think about it, right? What makes more sense is possibly starting Trubisky and he goes throughout the whole season until Kenny Pickett is ready, right? And maybe the fact is, Rudolph playing well is actually good for the team, right? So that's my overall thoughts on that situation. I think it's going to be, or I think the Steelers are going to have it as this: Trubisky, Rudolph. If they don't trade him, they could trade him, depending, right? Depending if any team wants him, right? Do other teams even want Rudolph? That's another question too. And then Pickett, and then Oladukin. All right. Okay, welcome back to the Ironcast in that mini break. Hopefully you guys had a bit of a breather to take a lot of that stuff in. I did talk about, I guess the positioning of the players, where I think they'll be. Trubisky, Rudolph, Pickett, Oladukin. Let's dive into a few things, like how this offense can work with the Matt Canada being more of a mobile system, the motions, and things of that nature. I talked about the other day on the Pittsburgh Steeler Syndicate, things of that nature. That is a Tomlinism. He says that all the time. So things of that nature. So let's dive down just a little bit. If Trubisky starts, right? I'm not too overly worried who starts. Let's put it out there. Like, I would cheer on any single quarterback who plays for the Steelers, as long as they're a good person and they have the skills to match, can go out there, throw the deep ball, get involved in routes, get involved in play action and stuff like that. But what does Trubisky offer the team? First of all, I would say he offers leadership because he's been there before. He's been in the playoffs before with the Bears. He's coming from hard times from the Bears and Matt Nagy system, right? He also offers some patience as well, because he has been now behind Josh Allen in that Bills system. So, and maybe he now has a real fire in his stomach to say, well, I want to go out there and start, and this is my team. So there's a lot of pros like that. He's got a good arm. He can connect well with his receivers. He's got a good deep ball. Like, I'm not downing his skills, right? I'm more or less taking on the other fundamentals that come with Trubisky. Now, maybe some of the negatives about starting Trubisky is he doesn't know the team. It's his first year with the Steelers. He's just as, even though he's got veteran leadership, right? He's just as, I guess, could be clumsy with the playbook, or learning stuff, or getting accustomed to the playbook might be hard as he transitions from Bears to Bills and Bills to Steelers, right? So we'll see how that happens and what happens with that process. But I think overall, I think Trubisky can work well. I think he can use his feet. I think he's mobile. I think he has a good arm. I think he has a good connection with Najee, and hopefully he can build that connection with, one or two receivers, or build the connection where he can throw over the middle to move. So that's Trubisky. But what about the second quarterback who I mentioned on the Steelers list? Mason Rudolph. This one's interesting, right? This one, I think he has a lot of pros. He does have a lot of negatives. He hasn't got the biggest arm. He's got some guys sometimes can be confused in routes. Sometimes can be confused when the play happens so fast and the linebackers and the edge guys are crashing down on him, he looks a bit intimidated and scared, and I would be too. And then just throwing absolutely awful footballs to no one. But what the positive that Mason Rudolph has for this team is he knows what the Steelers are like. He's been involved in this playbook for four years. He understands what he needs to do. He understands the terminology. He understands the route concepts. He understands the players that he's throwing to. So maybe the reason that Mason Rudolph is excelling in training camp is because he understands all these things. He's had the prior knowledge of 4 years to be like, well, here I am, here's me playing football with the Steelers again. He's been back up behind Big Ben and learned from him and progressed throughout his career. And he's only been playing for one team. So that could be the pros where he might go out and maybe that's why he's showing outstanding performances in training camp. But then you move on. You move on to Kenny Pickett. And all the fans want Kenny Pickett. Rookie Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh, PA, the college, and he was next door playing for the Panthers. He got signed, 20th overall. He walks over to the other building and says, "G'day, Tomlin, how's it going?" Shakes his hand and says, "I'm going to be your guy for the future." Now, the pros are with Kenny Pickett, obviously he's a tremendous college player. Obviously he seems very well-mannered, humbled kind of guy, chilled out, looks like he's ready to learn, and he's a number one pick for the Steelers, right? Got a massive arm as well. All these guys, I'm not saying the talent is very similar. I think Trubisky has a good arm, like strength. Pickett's got some good strength as well, can throw the deep ball, right? Can move around the pocket. We all saw what he did as well in that college game where he's got legs too, so he can run if he needs to be. Situation awareness inside the pocket looks good as well. But what I'm saying is maybe the negatives are for all rookies, it's really hard. It's really hard in this league. Being a rookie in the NFL is no easy feat. Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, I think they won a combined, 6 games or four or 5 games last year in their rookie year. Got absolutely towed up. Zach Wilson was one of the most quarterbacks that got sacked the most. Same with Trevor Lawrence. I think he threw them second most interceptions. He was up there. So the negatives are, if the Steelers go and put Kenny Pickett in number 1, which I don't think they'll do. I really don't think they'll. I will be surprised if they start Kenny Pickett there. But if they do, fair enough. But I don't think they will. But if they do, you're kind of discounting. You're kind of making a little bit of a mockery. No matter how good Pickett is, you're making a little bit of a mockery of Rudolph and Trubisky, in my opinion. So I don't think they'll start Pickett there. I think Pickett will be a scenario like where he may not even wear a helmet on game day. He may just be there holding the clipboard and learning and developing his skills throughout the season, and then pushing for next year in 2023, which is so far away, for a chance to go into a true quarterback competition. I see the success that I see with Pickett this year is learning the offense, getting around the team, getting around the Steelers, and becoming that, rookie quarterback that can be something for the future. I don't think you need to go throw him out there to the Wolves or to the white Bengal Tigers and let them feast on a rookie quarterback. I don't think you want to do that. Now, lastly, Chris Oladukin in this scenario too has not been named that much because obviously he's a 7th round pick from the 2022 draft. We have Pickett, we have Trubisky, and we have the veteran, or 4-year vet, which is Rudolph, above him. So he'll probably just go to the practice squad. So let me know, guys, if you've made it this far, and hopefully that cut helped it out. But in my opinion, I think it will be Trubisky, Rudolph, Pickett, and Oladukin. I think that's the way the Steelers would do things. I think that's the way coming into preseason games, they will start with Trubisky maybe getting 1 or 2 series, and then possibly Rudolph might have 1 or 2 series or 3 or 4, and then Pickett and Oladukin to, extend the rest of the plays. And possibly we'll have like 12 to 13 series on offense. So it doesn't matter too much to me that the playing time of some of these players, because I think overall it's going to be Trubisky number 1, Rudolph 2, and Pickett 3. And then second game, I think there's a big chance as well that Trubisky might play a little bit longer to maybe until they get a touchdown or scoring points and until the offense is set. But then in game 3, I could see them go out and play Pickett for game 3 and Oladukin and Rudolph to clean up, and maybe Trubisky won't even play at all. So we'll see. It's all changed. The era for the Steelers is brand new. There are fans out there now that are like me 20 years ago when I started watching football when I was 12 years old, right? That their guy is going to be, Trubisky is the Maddox. Not saying he won't get injured, right? But I'm saying when I started watching Tommy Maddox, and then things happened, and then Big Ben came in. It's very similar to that same scenario. Not saying that Trubisky's getting injured, knock on wood, but it's very similar. You have the veteran guy there from another team, the Bills, coming over to play for the Steelers. Don't need to rush in Kenny Pickett at all. But at the same time, there are fans now who are 12 years old, 13 years old, who are just starting to really learn about the game in the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have Trubisky there, but waiting in the wings is Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett could be the future, depending how his progress goes and his development goes, being a first-round QB. All right, guys, that is it. That is it for the Steelers Ironcast. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed that extended version of the Ironcast and talking about football. I just wanted to focus on QB, and it was really fun. That was really fun. If you enjoy the content, if you have not subbed yet, please hit that sub. Trying to get on a roll before we head into the preseason and the season. That's it. If you like the content, hit that sub. It really helps me out. So thanks, guys, for checking out Steeler Nation Australia. And as always, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.